So let's start our talk. May I have permission from our Venerable and all of you to give a talk. I'm going to discuss one of the sutta in Samyutta Nikaya. So I take one Pali part from the sutta and let's try to discuss. I will try to explain in my best of my ability. So let's take the sutta and discuss. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Cattaro me bhikkhave ahara bhutanang va sattanang va titiya sambhavesinang va anuggahayati. This is called Ahara Sutta, which means foods. Food for our existence. So Buddha talked about 4 types of foods that our existence is depending upon. The 4 types is, the first one is Kabalinkara Ahara. In Pali, Kabalinkara Ahara means audible food. That's our body mainly depend on audible food. So this is mainly for our body. And the second type is sense contacts, Passahara in Pali. We see things, we hear, we smell, and we taste, and we touch, and our mind perceive mental objects. So these are sense contacts. These are the all spectrum of our experience, sense experiences. And then the third type is Mano Sanchetanika Ahara, which means basically volitions, we can say action. Sometimes we call karma. This action becomes karma. So we will discuss further later. And then the 4th type is Vijñānāhara, that means consciousness. Consciousness arises in our eye, so we call eye consciousness. And consciousness, the awareness arises in our ear, we call it ear consciousness. And in our tongue, when we taste things, there's a kind of awareness arise. So we call it tongue consciousness. So likewise, there are 3 bases that consciousness arises. Depending on the base, we call that name. It's either eye consciousness, ear consciousness, likewise. So these are the 4 types of food that Buddha mentioned. All our existence depending upon. So let's discuss why Buddha said that is food. So when we take audible food first, the first type of food. Actually, what is our body? Where this body arise? How this body arise? We know that it starts from the seed from our parents, right? And then it grows inside the womb of mother. So during this stage, our body take food from, what mother eat, what mother consume, right? Maybe blood from the mother. And where this food come from? It's either plants or animals, right? And these plants or animal get food from, we can say, nutrition from the earth. So it's basically come from the earth, right? Or we can say the nature. So now you can see our body is connected to this nature. And after we come out of the womb, how our body survive? It takes food, right? It still takes food from our mouth. We eat, we drink. So these are the food for the body. So we know that without food the body cannot survive, and there's a circular process. We eat food, we drink, and then it goes back to the earth as urination or defecate. So this circular process is going on, right? So even after we birth, we still continue this connection with the earth or nature. Then we live maybe 80 years, mostly. And then what happens? What happens to the body? Yeah, it goes back to the earth. So if I say the body is part of the earth, we temporarily identify it as me or mine. But that is part of the earth, right? It goes back to the earth. It goes back to the nature. But without this body, we cannot, we usually identify with the body, right? We think I am this body. If someone asks you, who are you? You usually talk about your body, right? Or maybe you say your name. That is, not your body, but someone give you name, right? Give you a name. Sorry? Yeah, also job. We will come to that later. It's another type of food. We say how height I am, then what is the color of my skin, or likewise, right? We explain ourselves based on our body. The weight of the body, we say this much of weight I have. So likewise we explain about our body when we talk about ourselves. So that is how we introduce ourselves. That is the identification. We think I am this body, but we know if we contemplate on body, we temporarily use this body and it goes back to the nature. And Buddha has given a profound way of understanding this body, that mindfulness of your body. Practice mindfulness of your body, aware of your body. If you practice mindfulness of the body, let's say you take experience of the body as an object for the mindfulness practice, let's say breathing. If you are aware of breathing process continuously, you might be able to experience that our identification with the breathing process slowly get reduced. When you identify with your whole body, you identify with the qualities of your body, like how height you are, how weight you are. If you are overweight, then you become upset about your body, right? If your body gets sick, then you are upset about yourself. So likewise, we identified with the body. But when you are aware of the breath, you only know the breath, right? You don't have any perception about your whole body. You're just aware of one part of your body. And then you don't have thoughts like whether you are sick or whether you are healthy, or this kind of reflection does not come to your mind, right? You're just aware of your breath, either in breath or out breath. That is a simple type of identification. And then what happens, Buddha said this breathing process slow down, and sometimes it may vanish also. In time, it might vanish also. Then you might recognize, you cannot feel the breath, or sometimes you cannot feel the body. So this is how your identification slowly reduces with the body. So this is a gradual process actually. When you practice mindfulness, it slowly reduces your identification. And your recognition about yourself change. So Buddha says, yourself is depending upon this food. If the body is not there, if you don't feel your body, you cannot identify with your body. You might identify with space, so I am space, or I am consciousness. You come to different level of recognition, like you just only feel the space when the body is no longer there. So this kind of experience you might get when you practice mindfulness. That is why Buddha said this. We are depending on, or our existence is depending on the body or this food. Body is ultimately is food, right? That is why Buddha said this is our atta, or our existence depend on food. And then the second type is sense contact, passahara. We see things, we hear things. So I take a very simple example, analogy. Let's say you stay in front of your parents. How you recognize yourself? When you are in front of your parent, you become children, right? You feel you are a child, right? When you are in front of your teacher, how do you feel? Yeah, you really feel you are a student, right? You act like a student, right? When you are in front of your children, you act like parents, right? So I wear this robe, I come here, I act like a monk, right? We learn to do that. So it's depend on what I see. I perceive things, I perceive the nature, I recognize the nature, and I act according to that nature. When I come here, I know how should I behave, right? When I become monk, I know how should I act. We learn. So your identification is depend on what you experience in front of you. If people around you are higher than you, your status, you feel inferior, right? If people all around you are lower than your status, you feel superior, right? So you can see now your identification is depend on what you experience. Isn't it so? Let's say you have a luxury car, luxury vehicle. When you use it, why people buy luxury vehicle? Is it just because comfort? No, right? There are some other things like you can get identified with that. You feel you are rich. When you have a luxury house, you feel you are rich and you feel a comfort there. You feel comfortable. When you think about the future, you feel comfortable, right? And there's another thing happens. Let's say when you experience things, let's say you hear a song. First time when you listen to a song, if you like it, you feel it so much, right? You can enjoy it, right? Then what happens if you listen to the same song again and again? Maybe 10 times in a day? What happens? No
more.
Yeah, you come to a point where you cannot enjoy the song anymore, right? Isn't it, sir? You watch a movie. First time when you watch a movie, okay, there are different types of movies, like action movies. Yeah, then romantic movies. When you watch it, you feel crying, right? Comedy movies, you laugh when you watch. When you watch maybe a comedy movie again and again, can you laugh again and again? No, right? You watch it for second time, you can still laugh, but third time, you cannot laugh that much, right? As it was in the first time. When it comes to the fifth time, you get bored, right? Isn't it so? You get bored with the movie. What happened? You buy a luxury house. When you go to the house, when you live in the house for the first time, you feel amazing, right? It's a new experience. But with time, what happens? It's become normal, right? You get used to it. You don't feel it anymore. You don't feel like you are living. That energy does not come with that experience. So then you need to look for another experience, right? You get bored with one song, then you look for another song. You get bored with one movie, you look for another movie. And you get bored with one person, you look for another person, right? Sometimes in our relationships. Isn't it so? When you are in relationship, before you get married, you feel, when you meet the person time to time, it's interesting, right? But when you're going to live with that same person in your whole life, sometimes you get bored, right? Okay, you might find things to do together, then you can get rid of that boredom. But still, there's a kind of boredom comes when you get used to the same experience. So now you can see, even though you yourself identified with experience, you cannot depend on this experience forever. You cannot enjoy those experiences forever. You have to change the experience. So you buy gadgets, electronic gadgets, so that you can enjoy songs, musics. You can change the music. You can go from one experience to another. What happens, these gadgets all, you cannot afford those gadgets anymore. Let's say you go to another country. If you are not familiar with the new place, you ask someone to come and pick you, right? If you are alone, it's difficult, right? So usually we ask someone to come and pick us, someone you know. Then you feel familiar. Then the new place become familiar, or kind of, you feel safe. So we need to maintain the experiences or environment around us to feel safe. So you need friends, you need relatives. For our existence does not depend, it's survive itself. It needs things, it needs people, it needs experience. Because if the environment around us is not familiar, then we feel threatened. We feel we are not secure. So if you know that, even same for the food for the body, if you know that you cannot find food tomorrow, you get upset, right? So you need to feed your body continuously for the survival of yourself. The same way, you need to find sense contacts for your survival. Maintain your existence. So this is how our existence depends on these sense contacts. It's very tricky, when come to understand. So as long as you have good experience, you feel good. We call it, whenever you want, you can experience anything, we call rich, right? If you cannot experience what you want, we call it poor. When you cannot afford, we think we are poor. So that is how we depend on sense contacts. And what happens if you cannot perceive any sense contacts? We perceive good experience, we feel good. We get bad experience, we feel bad. What happens if we do not have this both good and bad? Okay, I explain it like this. I give you an analogy. You stay in the city, you have this both good and bad experience, right? Sometimes you feel so good. The people all around you are treat you good, you feel good. Then people around you treat you bad, you feel bad. What happens? You think, you feel like you are busy, right? You busy with this experience, different experience, going up and down. But what happens if you go to the beach? The moment you go to the beach, you feel so peaceful, right? You leave the city, you go to the beach, and if nobody is there, it's just space, right? Mostly space. It's a nice experience, right? For a moment. What if you have to stay there for 1 hour without talking to anybody? Nobody is there, only you, yourself. How do you feel? Maybe 2 hours? You are just alone there. When come to 3 hours, what do you feel? Hungry? Or you feel bored, right? You get bored. You feel lazy. You start to yawn. Why? When you have job, we say we are busy, right? Busy with work. If you have to stay at your home for 1 or 2 weeks, nobody is there to talk to you, and you have no gadgets to watch movies or listen to music, and you have no computer, you don't have a phone, what happens then? You get bored, right? You feel sleepy. It's become very difficult. At least if someone is there to fight, you feel good, right? If someone is there even to fight, that is better than staying alone, right? So you see, because when you cannot identify with anything, the feeling of yourself slowly reduces. And that reduction is difficult. But if you really contemplate on that, that is actually, we call boredom when we don't have any distraction. Behind boredom, that is peace actually. But we recognize it as boredom because that is how we feel. Our self feel it like that. We need a change. We always need to change experience. So to change experience, we need money, right? We have to afford them. We have to afford, equipment, gadget. We get bored with our house, then we need to go for a new house. It doesn't come freely, right? Nothing comes freely. We have to pay. So that is why Buddha says our existence does not come free. We have to pay. We have to maintain it. We have to maintain our sense contacts. As long as we can maintain our sense contacts in a better way, then we call it we are rich, but you have to pay. So this is the suffering of existence. It doesn't come free. If you cannot find the sense contacts that you really expect, you get upset, you get threatened. Your future gets threatened. If you are in a relationship, okay, we call mother give birth to child, right? Isn't it so? Mother give birth to child. If there is no child, is there a mother? No mother, right? Without a child. So this motherhood depends on the child. If there is no child, she is just a woman. So when we are in relationship, if husband is not there, there is no wife. If wife is not there, there is no husband. So this is interrelated. Buddha called it paticca samuppanna. It's all depending upon the other. So that is how we depend on our existence, depend on sense contacts. And then mano sanchetanika ahara, third type, volitions, or we can say actions. We have mental action, we have verbal action, we have body action. So, okay, I give an analogy. Let's say you prescribe medicine to other people. How do you recognize yourself? How the society recognize you? Doctor, right? So you become a doctor. You teach other people. People recognize you as a teacher, right? So your recognition depend on your actions, right? You do good things, you become a good person. You do bad things, you become a bad person, right? You rob, you become a robber. So our recognition is depend on our job, right? Our status depend on what we do, depend on our action. So let's say you do good things, you become a good person. You do bad, you become a bad person. And if you do nothing, what happens? You do nothing.
You can't really do nothing.
Yeah, it's become very difficult. It's like you go to the beach and you stay there for longer time, then you get bored. The same thing happens when you have nothing to do. That is why we have like retirement plans or something, like, when you get retired, it's become very difficult for people. When we have so many things to do, like when we have a job, we say we are busy. We have so many things to do. But when you have nothing to do, it's become even more terrible. It's become very difficult. Why it is difficult? Because you don't feel you are when you have nothing to do. People recognize you as someone who has, no benefit to the society or something, like the value goes down. Even if you do bad things, you still have a value, right? As a bad person. You have a recognition. You still have a recognition, even if you do bad things. You do robbing, you become a robber. It's a recognition, right? But when you do nothing, that is what monks do, We don't do anything. We just depend on what you do. We receive foods and learn to do nothing. It's difficult, I tell you. Sometimes it's difficult. So that is why Buddha say our existence depends on our action. If you have nothing to do, we don't feel we are. That is why we feel bored. But when we have to do things, it's disturbing, right? It's suffering. You cannot live without doing anything. Then the society does not recognize you. You don't have any status if you don't do anything. You cannot earn. Your actions is your money. So you have to do things. And that is why Buddha call it, there's a suffering, you always have to do things. Even when you want to, even sometimes people get sick, they still want to do things. They cannot take rest. Bodhi say, just please take a rest. You get fever. Body become weak, right? Feeling weak doesn't mean that you are really weak. Body giving a message. It asking you to take a rest. You get cold. You feel weak. It doesn't really mean that body is weak. Body gives you a message. Please take a rest. But many people cannot take rest. They still want to do something. This kind of force is there that it's keep asking us to do something. So that is why Buddha say we cannot survive without doing anything, it's become very difficult. And that is why it is a food for your existence. Because your existence, feeling of self, this is in Pali called sakasanya, perception of self. Who you feel you are is dependent on your action. So you have to act in order to feel who you are. Because feeling of yourself is dependent on your action. Feeling of yourself depend on your sense contacts. Feeling of yourself depend on how you feel your body. And then fourth type is consciousness. That is a bit difficult to explain actually. That is the very basic level of our existence. Consciousness means, you see things, not what you see. There's a seeing, right? What you see is sense contacts. But there's a process, seeing process. Sometimes you don't see anything but you see, right? Just bare look. Then hearing, there's a hearing process, right? Not what you hear. There's a hearing process. So this is the feeling of you are alive. That is consciousness. You feel you are awake. You feel you are aware. Not aware of things, just awareness itself. That is consciousness. That is existence. So this consciousness, aware of yourself is dependent on what you aware. That is why this consciousness depends on all the other three types of foods. Consciousness depends on your body. Consciousness depends on your sense contacts. Consciousness depends on your action. So these, it's interrelated. So if you do not have sense contact, if you do not have any actions, your consciousness, there's nothing to experience then. There's no prominent experience to experience, then you don't feel your existence. Your existence slowly reduces. It's become very subtle in a so-called samadhi level, so-called akinchanyayatana, vijnananchayatana, you just feel like you exist. But when you come to akinchanyayatana level, that is a deep samadhi level, and there you don't feel you are. So this feeling of yourself is this consciousness, that is the base point for your suffering. Because, okay, I give you an analogy. When you fall asleep, do you feel you are? You don't feel you are awake, right? But if you know that you are not going to wake up, can you sleep? Can you fall asleep if you know that you are not going to wake up? Okay, let's say your door is open, your gate is not locked. Can you sleep peacefully? Or maybe in Australia, maybe it's possible, but if robbers are around, if you know that like murdering or kind of violent things going on around your house, then can you sleep? Can you get sleep? Yeah, when your existence gets threatened, if you know that you cannot wake up peacefully, you cannot sleep. So you need to make sure that you exist in the next moment. If you know that you are not going to exist in the next moment, you do anything for that, for your survival. You do anything, everything. That is why if you feel like you're going to die next moment, you become automatic. That is the survival process. You do everything for your survival. So this is our existence. We fight for it. We fear, we get threatened. Because you don't feel who you are if consciousness is not there. I mean, even when consciousness is not prominent, we cannot say consciousness is not there when you sleep. It's become very subtle. You know, even in sleep, it's like a computer in sleep mode, you know. Computer is not shut down. It's in sleep mode. You touch the keypad, it's wake up, right? Let's say you are in deep sleep, you hear something, maybe bomb blast outside, you wake up, right? How do you wake up? It's not dead, right? There is a process that wakes you up in danger. Or let's say you want to wake up in the early morning, you plan a trip. You want to wake up early in the morning. You don't have an alarm. You determine to wake up early. It wakes you up, right? There's a process going on within you. Even though it's not prominent, it's not dead. So that is subtle level of consciousness is there. In danger is wake you up. So this is our existence. So this existence, this who you are, Buddhas call it the craving for existence is bhava tanha in Pali. There's a craving for existence that is very deep, very strong, very, very strong. Without experience, you can still live, right? Without sense contacts. But without feeling that you exist, it's nothing. So that is why Buddha say our existence is dependent on this consciousness, but it does not come free. It needs sense contacts to feel you exist. It needs actions to feel you exist. It needs the body experience to feel you exist. So these four foods are interrelated. That is why Buddha says our existence. This is actually, it looks like philosophical, but when you are aware of these sense contacts or your body or your actions, that is mindfulness practice. So Buddha explains our existence like this, and then he also teaches us a practice how to understand ourselves, how to understand our existence, how to understand this dependency of our existence, and how to understand so-called this suffering of our existence. We have this food industry to feed our body, right? It's an industry. So we don't feel that. We suffering collectively. Because of everyone suffer, we don't feel suffering. You know, everyone, because we all eat food 3 times a day, right? I don't know, 2 times or 3 times. But we don't feel it is suffering, right? We say enjoying food. But we have to take food, right? We have to feed this body 3 times a day. If we know someone who does not need food, then we can compare, Then we can feel like, how if I can survive without food? No need to feed. No need to feed me, no need to urinate, no need to defecate, we no need toilets. It's a big project to have a toilet in your house, right? Bathroom, you have to wash the body every day. It's a big project. So that is why Buddha said this existence itself is suffering. So I took 15 minutes more, sorry.
That's fine, Venerable. We probably could go on for a lot longer, but nonetheless, is that the conclusion then of the talk, Venerable?
Yeah. So if you have any question, we can. I think we have 15 minutes
so
more.
we will take questions. So questions from the floor first.
We can go until 11.
Yeah, till 11. Okay. 15 minutes.
Okay, we don't have any questions online today, so okay.
Or your ideas?
I might ask a question first, if I can, Venerable, then.
Okay.
So, in regard to boredom, when I've investigated boredom, I'm interested in what you said, because my conclusion around boredom was that for me it was a form of aversion, that I cannot, boredom is really, I don't want what's happening. So I've treated it as a form of aversion. I prefer something else, but I can't have it and I'm bored. So is that wrong, or am I just not understanding a deeper level as you're explaining?
No, you can perceive the same experience in different ways. Some people take it as boredom, some people take it as peace. No distraction means boredom. So it's depending on how you see the experience, how you take the experience. That is why the ditti or perception matters. When you recognize it as no distraction, it's become peace. But again, it's not just logical, right? When you start to feel boredom, you really start to feel boredom. Even though you try to think it as peace, it just doesn't come, right? So you have to stay with that experience and adjust yourself, with that experience. Then you start to feel calm. You go to the beach, you stay for 1 hour. The first time, initially you might feel calm, peaceful. But with time, maybe in 1 hour you start to feel boredom. And then if you practice this further, you might be able to stay for 1 or 2 hours being peaceful. It is practice, the same action also. When you have things to do, people cannot live without doing something sometimes. But you can get used to doing nothing and then slowly recognize that as peace. It's a practice. Yeah.
Just microphones dropped off. I think Dr. Jai had something. Excuse me.
Thank you, Ajahn, for very beautiful discourse. Now, you said the four things. The body, you very clearly said that it is from the nature. I also go further and say the body works by itself. You're not doing anything. The breathing, the circulation, everything is working by itself. So that if you understand that, that reduces the responsibility for yourself. View of self is reduced. Also, these four things operate. And when we see a person, these four things you said operates, and we recognize the person. And in that person, at that time, we create ourselves with the four things. So before that, nothing exists. Moment we create you, I create myself. And similarly, again, it's relative to that. You is the word relative. Always everything is relative to the mother, there's a child. So similarly, if I see another person, I recognize that person, and relative to that person, another me exists. Not the same me, relative to that person. Yeah. So this view of self is a relative thing.
Yeah.
It's not real, it's always changing. That is my understanding.
Yeah, that is what Buddha also says. It's paticca samuppanna in Pali terms. That's mean relative to experience or actions. So we don't say the self is not there. We say the self is depending upon things, dependently arising. Depend on many other things. So because it depends on many other things, we need many other things to survive. The self, for the self. It doesn't come free. So we have to maintain. It's not, we think that ourselves, we just survive. No. To survive ourselves, we need to maintain our relationships. We need to maintain our equipments, possessions, whatever it is. That is why just living does not come free. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so we might hold it there because we're running a little bit out of time. We've got quite a few announcements. So before I go on to announce it, Venerable Sunandananda, I realise I apologise I did not introduce you at the start as well. So I think everyone knows you. But
I'd like to say something.
oh yeah, sorry, please.
Thank you, Bhante, for the Dhamma talk. Yeah, it's very insightful. I just want to say something quickly regarding the contact and consciousness. In science, there is when we see something, our mind recognize that thing. So in English, we call it cognition. There is a process of cognition, recognition, recognize. So another word is cognition. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, the recognition or cognition is all depend on something outside, another object, right? So that's why it's say all depending upon. So to cognize, we need things, at least mental object. So this process, if nothing to cognize, then we don't feel we are. So this is a whole process. Our existence arise and pass away. When experience is there, it arises and then pass away. This arising of self is dependent upon what we experience. That is why, it's coexisted. Yeah, we can only understand it. We don't need to stop it. We just understand it. Then, let's say I wear this robe. Now I become monk. Am I really a monk? I don't know. I still am human, right? I have feelings. Same. We all same, right? I mean, lust is same for all of us. Anger is same for all of us. Jealousy is same for all of us. Metta is same for all of us. Just same. yeah.
Okay, I would make a few announcements. As I said, there's quite a few today. So first one, just thanks to all the people involved last week in the Forest Cloth offering. Because it was online, we actually had participants from not Australia here, from around Australia, in Thailand, Singapore, the US, Sri Lanka, India, and Bolivia, which is quite amazing, really. So altogether, around $3,000 was raised to support BSV in the sharing of the Dhamma online. The AGM, I might come back to that. It's a big one. The teens group, there's a retreat, but I think it's fully booked. I'm just mentioning it in case anyone's here. But please, it's the 18th and 19th of April at Newbury, and you can look up the teens.group at bsv.net.au, just online details. Our online Dhamma discussion, the next one will be next Saturday, the 4th of April. That's at 7 p.m. and that's on the BSV Discord channel. Next week would normally be the monthly lay discussion group, but that's not going to happen this month, so the next discussion group will be Sunday the 3rd of May. Today is Kalyana Cleaning Day. The grass has really gone wild, it's fair to say. So if anyone's able to stay and help clean up, a few people have already indicated they'll be here to assist. So just to be general cleaning and light garden work from 12:15 to about 1:30. So please try and help us to maintain this space. A heads up for VSAC, VSAC 2026. So we'll be celebrating this year at the Box Hill Town Hall on Saturday the 2nd of May between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. We're hoping we'll have representatives from all parts of the BSV community, so adults and children and teens. And so it will be not just, but more than just a public talk by Ajahn Brahm, a whole sort of event. So 2 retreats coming up, the Ajahn Brahmali retreat from the 2nd to the 11th of April, so that runs over Easter. That's fully booked, but there is a wait list open. And the Ajahn Brahm 7-day retreat from the 3rd to the 9th of May, that's also fully booked, but with a wait list. Monday night meditation will be Venerable Sunandananda. Tuesday night's the layperson-led meditation. Next week. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh. Okay. Try again. Working our way through the week, actually. This coming Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Tan Ajahn Don will be visiting and speaking. Ajahn Don, I think, always draws quite a crowd. So if you're thinking of coming, it's 5 p.m. but I suggest being here early. We will be live streaming it. And then next week, the monthly meditation day will be led by Ajahn Katapunya. That's the 4th of April. The day is from 8:30 to 4:30, but just come and attend as much of that day as you're able. Please bring your own lunch, though. We don't do a shared lunch on that day. And then lastly, Sunday Dharma teaching next week will be Ajahn Katapunya. Monday night meditation will be Most Venerable Ariyananda Maha Thero. Now, 2 other announcements. First one, the Sunday the 12th of April, Ajahn Brahmali, after the retreat up at Newbury, will come down and he will give the Sunday Dhamma talk. That Sunday is also celebration of the New Year. It's the Sinhala Tamil Thai New Year. It's probably also the Mahayana Myanmar New Year too, I guess, and also probably Laos and Cambodia. So we will have lighting of traditional oil lamp and water blessings. So we're inviting people to come along, participate, and if you have any special dishes that kind of happened on that day normally, then we'd invite you to bring those too. lastly, around Dana, we are short on Dana for Newbury. So, and in the sort of latter part of April, so that we'll run through the retreat up there, will run through to the 11th, but between then and the end of April, we're a bit short. So if anyone's able to assist with Dana at Newbury, please have a look online. Okay, now I'll go back to the AGM. AGM is set for the 19th of April, and it's a Sunday, obviously, and we'll meet here at 2 p.m. after a normal Sunday morning. The AGM is really important, and I'm going to pass this across to Sri just now, and he'll have a little bit to say around that.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, yeah, the AGM is very important to us, and we've got a couple of members, a couple of committee members who will be rolling out. So we are looking for some new committee members to come in. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. So as I mentioned last week, we are changing the structure of the committee, so less focus on not accountabilities, portfolios, but more on representation from the different parts of from the community. So if you're a regular here at the Buddha Lake or at Newbury, we're really looking forward to come and represent that in the committee. A parent of a child in the Dhamma school or the teens group, again, we're looking for you to come and represent that. City Zen, we're looking for City Zen members to also come in and represent in the committee. And also if you're part of the online committee, a regular member in the online committee, the same. So what I have here is some nomination forms. Now, committee members can come and harass you for a nomination, but we don't want to do that, right? We'd like the community members within the community, if you see someone that you see regularly coming to the Buddha Loka or at Newbury, go to have a talk to them. Grab a nomination form, have a chat to them about coming into the committee, right? Because that's what's going to make the difference, right? So we really do need that representation of the community in the committee. And I can guarantee you that the shift that we are making in the committee won't be onerous in terms of time. Committee may be perceived as being really heavy in terms of workload. It's not. We're shifting the way that we do things. So I'm putting it out there for members of the community to come and grab a nomination form and go speak to someone about joining the committee, okay? All right, thanks, Michael. All right, just one other thing. I got a message from Wendy while the talk was on. We are also looking for, we're short on Dana here at Buddha Loka as well, okay?
I don't know, Sri just didn't seem to like my suggestion that he stand at the doorway and not allow you out until you'd signed up to be a member of the committee. But anyway, but seriously, some new faces, a bit more, is always really helpful. And we want, we'd love to be a good representation of the community, both male and female. This last committee's been very male-oriented. Poor Wendy ended up being the only woman on the committee. So it would be really good if we could have sort of, a spread of people, a spread of representation. Okay, enough then. Venerable, could I call upon you, please, to formally close the session this morning? So we just usually...
Thank you very much for inviting me, especially Venerable Ajahn Nissarana. And Venerable Sumangalo especially came here because I am new to here. And he came in the morning and accompanied with me. Thank you for that. And thank you all. I know you people, they do set up all here. They're helping all of us. So thank you very much, all of you. We bow to Buddha.